Early childhood education programs have proven to be one of the best ways to invest in our children's futures. Can you imagine a world where everyone is given the same opportunities to succeed? Can you imagine a world with less people in prisons because they were able to attend a high-quality early education program? These two things might not seem to correlate, early childhood education programs and prisons, but in fact they do. Early childhood education programs should be provided to all children. Not only should they be provided, but they should have the same resources available to those in low-income families as to those in the higher socioeconomic status. Investing in our children through early childhood education programs is a lot more important than we might think. If we do this, we will see a dramatic change in our society. More people who probably wouldn't have had the chance will attend college, and less people would be in jail, and a better future would be made for those in low-income families. Countless studies have shown the importance of early childhood education programs, but since children can't vote, it's hard to implement high-quality early education programs. As someone who participated in some of these programs available, I can see the importance it had in my life by allowing me to be cognitively, intellectually, and socially prepared for the future. I will share some of the reasons why it's important to invest in early childhood education programs and why it's so much more important to put them into these programs instead of our universities and the correctional system. I will cover the reasons why early childhood education is important for society as a whole and what will happen if we don't decide to take action. Early education has proven that it helps all socioeconomic statuses. Children who are born into families with higher socioeconomic status are more likely to attend early education programs. These programs teach children important skills at a very young age, starting with cognitive processes and getting them ahead of those children who do not attend early childhood education programs. Although early education is important for everyone, not everyone has the opportunity to be able to be in these programs. According to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, more than 80% of children from low-income families are not proficient readers. This correlates with the lack of high-quality early education programs provided to low-income families. Because of socioeconomic status, low-income families don't have the knowledge or the value of early childhood education programs as others, and those high-quality early education programs are not provided in their areas because of the lack of funding. Allowing these families to have access to these programs would not only benefit them, but our entire society. If we are a country that believes in equal opportunity, then we should invest in these programs. One of the other reasons it's so important to implement these programs is because high-quality early childhood education has been proven to be one of the best and most effective ways to combat poverty. Low-income and middle-class children and families benefit the most from these programs. They are able to be cognitively stimulated in the proper environment, leading them to greater opportunities in the future that they would not have had access to before. A longitudinal study done by the High Scope Education Fund studied children ages 3 to 4 that were at high risk for school failure. 58 of the 123 students surveyed, or who were placed in the study, were placed in a high-quality early childhood education program, and the others were not. The findings showed that the group who received a high-quality early childhood education were employed at the age of 40, 76% compared to 62% for those who did not. The findings show that the group who received a high-quality early education were also more likely to graduate high school. They found that particularly with the females, that they graduated more than those who were not in the program. The third finding showed that those in the high-quality early education program had fewer arrests, with only 36% of arrests in the early education program group and 55% for those who were not in the program. Children who are not in these programs tend to be more behind. Education has proven to be one of the best ways to end poverty, but have you ever thought about how early childhood education impacts the way a child does in the future in their school work, quality early childhood education really changes a child's life, especially if the child is at high risk for school failure. According to Brooks Gunn, children who are from socioeconomic statuses that are in the low bracket or who are low income, who participate in early childhood education, can improve how ready they are for school in the future. By improving their readiness, they are more likely to be successful in their future studies. They also have greater opportunities to be financially independent and stable, and they are more likely to break the cycle of poverty in their own family. Because low-income families have both parents in the workforce sometimes, it's important to involve the parents in these programs as much as we can. Teaching parents the importance of early childhood education for their children and for their families in general, and by encouraging them to read and cognitively stimulate their children at home will help lead children to better futures. If you want to help end poverty in the U.S., invest in early childhood education programs. If we don't invest in these programs, we will continue to see our country go in a downward spiral of hopelessness. We pay billions of dollars a year into the correctional system because issues are not resolved at the very beginning stages of life. Imagine a child who comes from a low-income background. Perhaps you were one, or perhaps you know one. Wouldn't you want someone to give you a chance at achieving your goals? Taking away resources from low-income children only makes the situation worse. If we invested this money that we do into the correctional system, we wouldn't need to pay all the billions of dollars that we do into the correctional programs because less people would be in prisons and jails. According to the U.S. Census data and Vera Institute of Justice, in Idaho the government spends less than $10,000 a year per student, but twice as much for an inmate. If this were the other way around, we would see a completely different society. More people will be in poverty because they are not given the adequate resources from a young age. A study done by Stanford University found that the achievement gap starts happening at only 18 months old. At 2 years old, the gap between kids in higher socioeconomic statuses who participate in high-quality early education programs is 6 months for those who don't. At 5 years, the achievement gap is already up to 2 years. It's a lot more economically effective to aid the problem of achievement gaps and inequality at the beginning stages of life than it is when it's harder to correct and a lot more expensive. As the gap increases, more children drop out of school and continue with the cycle of poverty they were raised in. Crime will be a part of our lives, but we can reduce the amount of crime and criminals who come from fewer resources and who didn't get a chance from the very beginning. High-quality early childhood education should be something that all children have access to guarantee them the chance at a better and brighter future. The reasons I covered are just a few of the highlights that point out the importance of high-quality education programs. High-quality early education is the key to success. Investing in children at a young age is the best prevention for poverty. We should want all children to receive a chance to greater opportunities and a brighter future. If we don't invest in early childhood education programs by providing them a better future and a better quality of life, then our nation will continue to see high delinquency rates, less economic competitiveness, and more families in poverty.